welcome to Breaking Character LARP. I am Roy, and today we are in the Workshed working on a prop for a mod that I would like to run at a modern LARP. A lot of the LARPs that I go to are either fantasy LARPs, or they're in the Wild West, or they're a colonial age. They're usually not set in the modern age. So this is really going to give me some opportunity to kind of have fun with this mod, to bring some technology in that I'm not usually used to doing. At a lot of games we've played, we've either had puzzle boxes, or we've had locks and lockpicks, but for this modern LARP, I want to try my hands at making a hacking minigame. My idea is that I want to create a door panel, a door lock, that can be opened up and then hacked by the players using some sort of device, and I don't know how I'm going to do it just yet. So I have some of the equipment here, and I'm going to try to build it with you together, and hopefully this can help inspire some of your modern LARPs. I've consulted with a lot of my friends who are electrical engineers or computer engineers and how to figure this out, how to create this minigame. But we came to the conclusion that it might be better to start with a minigame that already exists and then build off of it. Which is why we started off with this game from Tiger Electronics called Lights Out. This game by Tiger Electronics, Lights Out, it's from the early 90s, and the idea is that you have puzzles. You have red lights throughout here, and every time you have to press a red light, it turns on or off the lights surrounding it. The idea is then that the player has to turn off all the lights, and by doing that, they'll complete the game and they'll hack the keypad, they'll hack the lock, opening the doors to let people in. I was kind of inspired by this by like video games. If you ever played BioShock, there's like a hacking minigame with all the pipes that you turn. So the idea is that I wanted a game that the players would play to hack the door and open it up. So our first step is I want to take this and not make it look like a game from the early 90s. So we gotta dress this guy up a little bit and make him look a little bit more modern. The other thing we need to build is the keypad. I'm going to call it the junction box. This is what's going to attach onto the door itself. So the idea is that we will have our hacking minigame, which is like a PDA. It's the thing that the agents bring with them. We're going to have a cord come out of it, and then it's going to plug into the junction box. They will play the minigame. That will then open up the door, which then allows them to get inside. So we're going to have a lot to build here, and I haven't really done this before. I'm so used to building props from, the earlier age, from a medieval age, building props for a fantasy LARP or for the Wild West, that this is going to be really fun. I get to use a lot of modern materials and things I'm just not used to. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's try to see how we can make this work. Big shout out to Kevish on this one. He actually went on eBay and bought this game for me. So first things first, let's get these batteries out. And I was kind of concerned about this because this is a game from, the mid-90s. I didn't want to ruin this and then have to go purchase a whole new one. So I took this apart very carefully, and I wanted to get this main circuit board out. Whenever I spray paint things, I want to make sure I'm getting all the movable parts or, electronic things that can get ruined by the spray paint. I want to get that out of the way so I don't ruin it. I know I probably should have sped this footage up a little bit faster, but whenever I watch how-to videos on YouTube, I want to see all the steps. So this is for you guys who might want to buy this. Very carefully peel that back so you can pull the buttons out. Again, I didn't want to break this circuit board. Since I was being so overly cautious with this, my original goal was that I was going to put tape around the circuit board and around the buttons. Everything that I didn't want to take apart, I was going to try and tape over it so it wouldn't be ruined with the spray paint. And then I just decided, you know what? If we're going to do this project, let's do it right. So I decided to take the bottom circuit board out as well. And it wasn't actually that difficult to do. All you had to do is just pop those little buttons off, and there you go. Now, I wasn't going to take the back plate off because it attached to the batteries and the soundboard, and I didn't want to deal with any of that. So now I have the face plate here where all my buttons would normally be, and that way I could spray paint that black and get a nice clear coat on it. And of course, I like to use Rust-Oleum. This is some Ultra Matte. I had this left over from another project. It's really good stuff. Spray paint it outside, and good to go. This is our junction box, our keypad. And this was just 99 cents from a Joann Fabrics or a Michaels. I use these usually to hold cards or sometimes to hold my minis in it. They're pretty cheap and inexpensive. And I picked up these lights from the Dollar Tree. They were exactly $1. They take 2 AA's. And my idea is that I'm going to have the lights strung inside to kind of make this feel a little more sci-fi. and then have the battery on the faceplate of the junction box. This calculator also came from the dollar store. I originally wanted to find a phone, a toy phone that you could press buttons and it would make noise, but all the phones I found were, iPhones. So now that I got the keypad and I have the faceplate of the calculator, I want to try to find a way to attach it to our junction box. And I thought maybe if I put it over top of it, and I'm going to get all the other extra things off. I don't need the plus signs, I don't need the on-off button, I just want the numbers, I just want the keypad. There's a lip around the edge of this, and I just want to get that nice and clean so I can get it flat. I tried using hot glue first, and that didn't really work, so now I'm going to move to super glue. I want to get the keypad attached to the faceplate. This is really where my troubles began, because this material, you have this hard plastic, and then you have this soft plastic, and it does not adhere. I decided that I was going to mount the keypad behind the faceplate. And this is the part of the video where I have to warn you, the plastic is very brittle. This stuff is a nightmare to work with sometimes. It's so brittle that whenever you cut into it, it will just shatter, and that's exactly what happened here. So what I'm going to try and do is take my box cutter and kind of scour, take a little cut again and again, small cut after small cut after small cut, so that I don't shatter the rest of this plastic. So it takes some time, and maybe next time if I do this, I might use a Dremel. So I have to warn you guys, if you're going to work with this kind of plastic, you have to kind of go really slow and methodical with it. I'm not that kind of a guy. I'm really fast and loose with my building plans, so this took a good amount of time for me to cut this nicely so I didn't shatter the faceplate anymore. With a project like this, you might want to continuously dry fit things to make sure that it's all going to actually fit inside the compartment you're going to use. This is some super glue accelerant. No matter what I'm doing, this rubber with the calculator pieces, they are not sticking together. So I need to figure that out for the next time I do this. I'm now going to drill a hole into the faceplate so I can shove one of those LED lights through it to be like an indicator or a warning light. Cutting into this plastic again can be very tricky, so I'm going to use a piece of wood and drill into it through the wood so that way I'm not putting all the pressure just on that faceplate. Clean up the hole a little bit so that way the LED light will actually fit through it. Testing it out, and perfect. Test fitting with the keypad behind it, and yeah, that's going to look really sharp when this is all done. Still concerned over that break in the plastic from earlier, so I'm just going to throw some duct tape behind there to give it some support. We're going to need something for the door hacking game to actually plug into, so these are just some Ethernet ports that I found really inexpensive. Perfect. With some extra Ethernet cord, I'm just going to cut up some pieces and pull some of the little small wires outside. This will be nice greebly. And this is how we're actually going to attach the hacking game to these junction boxes. This is just one of those ID badge lanyards that I found, but I really like the fact that it recedes, it winds up on itself. That way the players don't have to worry about trying to wrap up the cord when it's done, it just kind of zips right back to it. Way less hassle for our players. We're going to take the end of this Ethernet cable, and this is what's going to get attached to this lanyard piece. And I kind of want to play this out for you guys so you can see how much of a hassle this was. This was not something that I had planned out in advance. I had no clue how I was going to attach these two together. I originally wanted to thread it through, but it wasn't fitting. And I didn't want to break this. I have very little bits that I can use for this project, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So I tried anything I could to attach these two together. I'm probably getting a little off topic here, but I want to be open and truthful with you guys. I want to share with you guys the creative process of doing this. This YouTube channel, I want to share these things that I'm building with you guys, with my audience. And I'm going to show you guys the failures, and that's what this is. The creative process is not just something sitting down and crank it out and boom, it's perfect every single time. You're going to create something that's going to fail or something you're going to struggle with. So I wanted to share this with you. This was me struggling. This was me failing and trying for a good half hour of just how am I going to connect these two pieces together. Sometimes the simplest solution is the easiest one, and I think on this one I got overcomplicated. I wanted to glue things, I wanted to attach them, I wanted to insert the lanyard into the Ethernet port, and all I really had to do was just tie them together with string. That was it. That's actually going to be enough tension to hold it in place and then hold the Ethernet port upright so it'll click in nice and easy and it'll sit together. So that's all I had to do was just sit here, tie it together. And to make sure this never ever ever comes undone, I'm just going to load this thing up with super glue and let it sit for a while and cure. So that way I never have to retie this. To make this finally look kind of streamlined, I'm just going to cut off this little piece of knobby plastic. That was kind of like the stop break so the string doesn't go all the way into the lanyard, but I don't need that anymore. Now that the paint has finally cured on our game, the Lights Out game, I could finally reassemble this. So all you have to do is just pull the tape back off and try putting it together as best as you can. I really wish I kind of took more time with painting this part. I was kind of on a time limit. This was originally supposed to be used for a LARP that has since been canceled, but I wanted to just get it done fast. I should have sanded this. Since this is a piece that I'm planning on reusing again and again for multiple different sci-fi LARPs, I should have really put more time and effort into this. I guess that's one of my biggest regrets with this project. I should have really spent more time on this. You guys saw me disassemble this once before already, so I don't think I need to show you the full video of me reassembling it. Just be careful, take your time, and use the right screws. And now that it's back together again, it still kind of looks like a 90s toy. I'm not gonna lie, it still looks like a 90s toy. But with this this black on it, will make it look a little bit more industrial, I guess, or science fiction-y. Keep testing just to make sure that it's all working. Perfect. I took the junction box outside as well to spray paint it, and I have to have it match the keypad, because the keypad is black as well from the calculator, so I wanted this all to match. This darn keypad, when you press the buttons, like, the entire rubberized part moves up and it seems like it's going to break on you. So I need to find a way to mount this so that it's not going to move so the players don't break it. Going back to my crafting roots, I'm going to use some popsicle sticks here and place it behind the keypad, and that should give it some extra support so it doesn't pop out. Well, as you can see, I lost all the footage of me actually mixing the epoxy. What I did was I bought 2-part epoxy from the dollar store. I wanted to try something that was a little bit stronger than my usual super glue. And I just always have bad luck with this stuff. Whenever I buy this, I'm expecting to get like either the really strong stuff or the stuff that like it almost is like plastic cement. It melts the 2 pieces of plastic together. But this is just, turns out it's just super glue. It's just a really big tub of super glue. So I'm going to put it on the inside here so our number faceplate can go to our junction box faceplate, and then I'm going to put the popsicle sticks behind it all to make sure that it really doesn't move. And I can already feel it that it's starting to shift on me a bit, so I'm going to put a a bottle of paint on top to hold it in place. I also spray painted the Ethernet cable and the lanyard piece black as well, so it all fits. And I realized that since this is super glue, attaching 2 painted things will actually only attach the paint, not the actual plastic together. So I took a sprue cutter that I have here and I scratched it up a bit so I can actually get back down to that bare plastic. Using the 2-part epoxy from before, I'm going to put a big old glob of that right there on the lanyard, and then I'll be able to attach that directly to our Lights Out game, our hacking minigame. And the 2 of them will be, hopefully, forever bonded. That sounds really romantic, I guess. Back to the junction box. When the players open this up, I want them to see like a mess of wires. I want this to look like a stereotypical like 1990s hacking device, like just wires and junk all over the place. So again, I'm going to use a lot of that 2-part epoxy that I have left over. I don't have too much left, and I'm going to try and coat all of the wires so that they stick pretty well inside this base. And it's really up to you when you do this part. I just want to make it look like a mess. That's really the goal, is just make it look messy inside. I just want to have a bunch of different wires poking in all sorts of different directions, just so it looks really complicated. Just so it looks like an actual mess of wires that you might find like in a server room or something. Finally, make some room for the Ethernet cable port, because that's where the hacking minigame is going to get connected into. So make sure that's nice and secured in there. It's been a couple hours, so all of our glue has finally dried, and as you can see, testing everything works pretty well. Let's take our lights, and I started to run out of that super glue, that epoxy, so I'm just going to use some hot glue from a hot glue gun to put the rest of these pieces in.
I know some people don't like using hot glue in their projects, but it actually offers some flexibility, and it also kind of acts as a filler. So putting it around the LED on the faceplate here will really keep it in place and also seal it, so hopefully no light from the inside will be able to shine out. And finally, now it's time to thread the rest of these LED lights through. And I'm gluing these guys into place. I don't want these falling out either. But my idea is just to string them through, and again, make it look like it's some sort of science fiction gobbledygook. So whenever the players open this thing up, it's just lights and wires all over the place, and it just looks futuristic. I did realize that the LED alert light lines up exactly where the Ethernet cable is supposed to go in, so make sure you don't do that. On the next model, I'll move them around. Let's see this all actually in action. So you'll come up to the junction box, the keypad. You'll crack it open up the faceplate, revealing all of the science fiction gobbledygook inside. Take your Ethernet cable, plug it in, and when it's actually attached to an object, it won't be moving as much, I promise. Then you turn on your hacking minigame. It'll go through like the cycle setup. Press a few buttons, go through the hacking game together, and boom! You have successfully hacked the door. Now you just take the Ethernet cable back out, struggle with it a bit, I guess, and then put the faceplate back together, and you're done. Now we have to figure out how to actually attach this to a door. These are command hooks, command strips. Everybody loves using these, and I prefer to use the Velcro kind. I just find it really easier to take the Velcro off the door when you're done with it. I always sometimes find out that I'm peeling paint whenever I take a command strip off, so this way we're just protecting the doors at the campsites.
So here it is. This is our hacking minigame with our little plug that goes into our keypad that will be able to be put onto pretty much any door that I can put command strips onto. So yeah, a lot of work, a lot of trial and error, and I'm not 100% satisfied with my keypad. This, is exactly pretty much what I wanted it to be, but the keypad, I kind of wish that I did some extra changes to it. So this is only going to be one. I'm going to try to create 3 of these, so I'll have 3 door pads that can be put through some mods. So this being our prototype, not that bad. I was talking to one of my friends while I was constructing this, and I said that I'm not 100% satisfied, but from my original concept of a hacking game that could get plugged into a keypad that can go pretty much anywhere that I could put a command hook, that was my original goal, and I guess I kind of completed it. For the second and third models, I kind of want to put 2 lights, and then for the third one put 3 lights, and that might be able to signify to the players of this difficulty. 1 light means you have to play 1 game. 2 lights mean you have to play 2 games. 3 lights mean you have to hack it 3 times, 3 mini games. But I still have a major issue with this, which is you're going to need a storyteller, an ST, a marshal. You need to have some NPC that follows the player around to instruct them on how the heck this thing works. You can't just set this out in the wild and expect a player to find it and know exactly, oh, plug this together, there you go. You're going to need somebody to help give them some guidance and to tell them when they've beaten the game, when they've beaten the hacking minigame portion of it. So this isn't as simple as just here's a puzzle or here's a lock to undo. You're going to need an ST to kind of fulfill the portions that I can't program. Again, I'm not a computer programmer, I'm not a computer engineer. I'm sure there's people out there smarter than me who can do this completely independent on your own. Throw a Raspberry Pi in here or something, through a little computer. But for my technical skills, what I have laying around, this is pretty much what I was hoping to get. This is pretty much exactly what I was hoping to do. And surprisingly, this came out better than I thought. I was for sure thought this part, the hooking, was not going to work at all. And this actually doesn't look that bad either. Now, if you look up close at it, you can kind of see some of the flaws with it. Again, as you saw when I was creating it, I accidentally broke some of the plastic. It's very brittle. But from, 3 feet away, most players won't even see some of the flaws, so it'll be perfectly acceptable. But again, I kind of do want to improve this at some point. I would like to try to improve this and make this an even better design. But for right now, I think this is exactly what I'm hoping for, exactly what I'm looking for. This is Breaking Character LARP. We are in the Workshed. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as you can see over here, we have our social media posted. We post on our Facebook and our Instagram pretty regularly. Commenting, subscribing, interacting with the video does help the YouTube algorithm and helps other people see these videos and get to see some of the fun, cool things we're doing here, and hopefully inspires other people along the way as well. That's pretty much the goal of this channel. I just want to be inspired by your work and you guys be inspired by the things I'm putting together, and just trying to take the game, take LARPing, and just elevate it for everybody. Thank you very much. Have a great day, guys. That's it.